Now it's time to add some doors and windows to our project. And to do that, I'm going to go here to the door tool in the toolbox. I'm going to use the shortcut Command T or Control T if you know Windows. And the door settings dialog is going to come up. Here on the left, we have all the libraries built in for doors in ArchiCAD. And here you can find many types of doors, from garage to hinged, rotating doors. So there's a lot of doors that are built in ArchiCAD, and you should be able to find the door that you need. Right now we're going to use the hinged doors 20. Here we have quite a lot of types as well, with archtop, side light panels. We're going to use the door 20, and here on the right we have all the settings for the door. Starting with preview and positioning, where we can adjust some sizes, and also how high is the door from the bottom of the wall. We're going to change this to 0. Here on the right, we can see how the door looks in plan, elevation, a 3D, and an image of the door. So I'm going to keep it here on the 3D. And if we go to the next tab, here's where we have all the settings for the door. And if I click on this bar here, we're going to see all the possible settings that we can change. And there is a lot of settings for the door. So don't worry about trying to remember everything. I don't remember everything. Every time I have to set up a door, all I do is go to the first item here on this bar, and then keep on moving forward, checking if I need to change anything on this item. So a lot of times you won't need to change anything, but it's good to go through all of it. So don't worry about remember everything. Just go to the first one and move forward editing them. So let's do that. So I'm here on the nominal size and tolerance, which is the first item of this menu. And here is where we can change the size of the door. And you can see the number of the item here that you want to use as a standard. And you can check what this number is in here. I'm going to be using the egress unit, which is the clear entrance of the door. Let's move forward. So on this door settings, we have some main topics like door settings and openings, wall openings, fixture and fittings. And then inside them, we have many other subtopics. So when we go to door settings and opening like we are here, this shows us a summary of everything we're going to find inside this topic. So I'm just going to ignore this part and move forward so we go into detail of each one of them. Here's where you change the settings for the frame, like thickness. If I want the frame to be the same thickness of the wall, I'm not going to check that for now. Moving forward. If you want to have natural ventilation on top of the wall, moving forward. Here we could change the door lift type and also some settings for this door lift. So for instance, we can change the frame width that we want for this door. If we choose a door with some horizontal and vertical grid, we can also change the number of panels. And for now, I'm going to choose a simple style here, so we don't have any option of that. Moving forward. We can also choose the handle type and where this handle is positioned. And you can have a kickboard, which is a skirting. Let me show you in the 3D, which is a skirting on the inside and outside of the door. Let's go back to the settings. I'm going to switch it off. I don't need it. Let's keep moving forward. Opening type, if we want the door to be side hung or double acting. Moving forward. We don't really need to change anything on this right now, so let's just ignore it. And here is where you change the attributes of the door. For instance, if I want to change the surface of the door, so I could choose a different kind of wood or a different color for the door. We don't really need to change that right now. Then moving forward, we also have another big topic, wall opening. So I'm just going to ignore this summary again and go ahead into detail. So we can change the reveal type of the door. I'm going to put here a 50mm offset for the door. You can also use different types of reveals here, especially when you're doing some historical buildings. I'm going to move forward. Here is the wall closure. We don't need to change this right now because our walls are generic, so we don't really have some insulation or plaster in the wall build-up. So let's move forward. You can also add some masonry arch, straight or curved. I'm going to switch that off. We don't need that now. And if we have chosen an arch, we could change here the model attributes, the surface of the arch. We haven't, so let's move forward. This is the next big topic, fixture and fittings. Again, I'm not going to change anything on the summary. I'm going to go into detail of it. Starting with the threshold, we can turn the threshold on. We can choose the type of threshold if we want it extended on both sides. We could also change the thickness of the threshold. I'm going to switch it off. Moving forward, if our door is elevated, we can put a sill and we can choose the sill type, change the settings of the sill. I'm going to switch that off. We don't need that. And here, the casing. Some places they call this the arch tray, where we can either switch it on and off and change the dimensions of it. I'm going to keep it on. And the casing inside, same thing. Let's move on. We can also have a sunshade. We have different types of sunshade, from folding sunshade to rolling. If we choose rolling, we have some different types of sunshade. I'm going to keep it off as well. And moving forward, we can choose the attributes for the elements we just have activated. In this case, it's just the casings. So we can change the material of the casing. I'm going to keep the same. And moving forward here, we could choose the way the door looks in plans. We don't need to change any of that. This is pretty good as a standard. Minimum space, same thing. We don't need to change the clearance of the door. And then finally, here at the end, we could put information like cost, manufacturer, but for the schematic stage, we don't really want to do that right now. So again, we have just gone through all the settings of the door. So it's a lot to remember. Every time you need, just go to the first one and keep going through. Now let's press OK. And before we start adding doors and windows, let's see how we set up a window. So I'm going to press Escape here. And let's go to the window tool and then use the shortcut Command T or Control T. And as you can see, the settings dialog for window is very similar to the door. On the left, we have the library with many types of window. I'm going to use the window 20 here. And one difference is that we have a sill height that is much more important than the door, where we have to choose how high it is from the base of the wall. And if we go to the window settings, same thing. We have a lot of menus. They are very similar to the door. I'm going to go quickly into some of the important ones, starting with shape, where we can put an upper or lower transom. Moving forward here, this is a summary. Change the frame thickness, the sash type, so we can choose a window with horizontal and vertical grid, or we can choose a solid panel or a ventilated sash. I'm not going to change it. Let's move forward. You can also choose here on the opening type and angle how you want this door to open. So you can have a fixed glass, side hung, tilt turn, bottom hung. You can even have a double sliding in this window 20. So if I look at the 3D, our window right now has two panels that slide. So it's a very flexible window. So you get a one panel window that you can turn into two panels that slide. I'm going to keep it side hung for now. So again, just like the doors, go to the first item here and then go forward checking if you need or not this item, or if you need to change anything on it. And then go ahead, press OK, and let's start adding doors and windows.